Please join me in welcoming Brian Kalma.
Hello. Thanks for having me and letting me be here. Talking a little bit about what we're doing at Gemvara. I thought maybe first be good to just take you through a little history, because everything that I've experienced in my life has really, taught, guided, and educated me into becoming essentially an emotional marketer. I always have my eye on making sure that we're doing things a little differently than the rest of the market is. To seize the opportunity that exists outside the norm. And we did that at Zappos. I don't need to tell the Zappos story. I think we all know it, but we will talk a little bit about it when we go through it. I went over to Guild Group, and then eventually, last year, landed at Gemvara. I don't expect most folks in here to know what Gemvara is. If our research is right, most of you won't know who it is. It's really, we sell fine jewelry that you could customize to your liking. Whether you can choose your own stones, your own metals, etc. to get you the piece that you want. So that's the very high level view of what Gemvara is, and I will get into it a little bit more later. Now, one important thing that I learned during my time at Zappos and at Guild was, it doesn't matter how buzzworthy your company is. It doesn't matter how much it's written about in TechCrunch or all the things that consumers don't even care about. What really matters is how much you matter to customers and how much stuff you actually sell. You got to remember, this is, when you're in a business like Zappos or Guild, you are selling products. Buzz doesn't matter. I can tell you what, in 2008, when Zappos was at its height of its popularity, and sales were sort of slipping, we didn't rest on our laurels and say, wow, we're being written about everywhere. We said, holy shit, we got to figure out how to get our sales back up. So it's one important thing you always have to remember when we're talking about buzzworthy companies. And another really important lesson that I learned that I'm bringing with me throughout my life is that what happens behind the scenes at your company manifests itself on your stage. In our case, they still have a crazy, wacky, zany culture. And this is a photo of Tony during one of our annual head shaving events. I was going to put the picture of me up there, but it was a little inappropriate because I got my whole torso shaved by Alfred and our COO, but I don't think we all know each other well enough yet. But the point here is that Zappos has a crazy, zany culture, and everything that we did there manifested itself in every interaction with our customers. In contrast, at Guild, it was a very different culture. What you see on the site, everything you experience, it was a representation of what it was like to be inside the office. And that's just an important thing to remind you, because how you set up your culture truly is what will enable you to perform and succeed on the stage that your customers are seeing. So that's a really, really, really important thing for anyone to remember. And in a business like e-commerce, there's always going to be these necessary evils that you have to deal with to let your business, to help your business grow and sustain. And we'll get into some of what these necessary evils are, but it's how you deal with these necessary evils and how they manifest themselves to your customer that really determines how emotional you can create your experiences to be. So let's get into it a little bit right now. I have a mantra, and this is something that I remind my teams of every single day. And that is, if you design with only standards in mind, you're only going to get standard results. And I don't know about you all in this room, but I personally feel that is absolutely not good enough. And I do want to make a point of clarification here, is that, as it relates to web standards, I'm not necessarily referring to web standards. I'm saying just running your business the standard way. In order to be outstanding, you have to act outstanding. You have to challenge the norm. You have to look for the silver lining in things. Now, I do apologize for hurting your eyes right now, but this is Zappos homepage 2006. The relatively modern age for a 1999 website, like this to still be in front of consumers' eyes. And there was a very specific reason why this was happening. There was a few things we identified that needed to happen to have our business be the level of success we knew it could be. But we knew we also couldn't focus on everything at once. And we figured out that there were other companies that could create a better web experience than us. That wasn't what was going to differentiate us. Didn't matter per se at the time. What mattered was focusing on those two things that we knew we could do better than anyone else, and we did. And that was customer service and logistics. Once we figured out how to nail that, we of course moved on and evolved the site. Don't get me wrong. But the point here is that if you're going to try to disrupt, you have to pick up small things at a time and move fast. But I also want to talk a little bit about that. It may seem crazy that, for a bunch of designer types should be thinking, well, how could you not even care about your website? There's an important fact that many folks don't know about. Now, even up to 2006, 60% of users were being parachuted directly into product detail pages via our affiliates, via search marketing efforts, via incredible intense SEO efforts we ran. It became really, really evident to us that it was an acceptable sacrifice to not deal with the web experience because the majority of people were skipping all that navigational structure anyway. So that made us feel a little bit better about just dealing with customer service and logistics, which is primarily what Zappos is known for today. But all the while, and this is the really interesting thing, this is the part that, makes me, giddy when I think about it. We were hoping and praying that any single person who purchased an item for the first time on Zappos returned it. We wanted that to happen. We were intentionally architecting an experience that would, effectively encourage this sort of behavior. And that is, very counter to a lot of what I'm taught, what I've been traditionally taught about designing and architecting experiences. Make it perfect, make it seamless. Well, we learned that a customer was 3 or 4 times more likely to buy with us again if their first item was if they had to return their first purchase. It was an incredible aha moment for us when we realized that, and we thought to ourselves, do we need to spend the time re-architecting the experience to an utter level of perfection to reduce returns? I don't know about you guys, but if anyone here is in e-commerce, I will almost guarantee that one of the conversations you all are having is let's reduce returns. Screw that, increase returns. If you can nail that experience and you can architect an experience that is so perfect that this unfortunate event could be a differentiator for you, that's silver lining that you can capitalize on and hit a home run with, and that's a memorable moment. It's more memorable than a perfectly seamless experience where everything just worked as perfectly as it could or should have. So really, it's about taking maybe mundane moments or kind of a drier moment and turning them into something more memorable. So I may offend people, so I don't necessarily mean to say SEO is mundane, but I kind of do. So if you're an SEO, I'm sorry. But at Zappos, we were highly reliant on SEO. We're an e-commerce site. There were a lot of competitors out there, and our SEO team basically reviewed everything that went out because we had to make sure that it was SEO compliant. And I thought to myself, wow, what an opportunity to do something fun and interesting for people. Customers don't necessarily care about SEO. They see this thing that, by the way, we call footer source at Zappos. Our SEO team wanted this. It's tons and tons of links. And I thought to myself, gosh, this sucks. I don't want to put this thing back up there. We just redesigned the site. We got all this, 180 links off the homepage, and now you want this back up there? So we had a little fun. You can't read what's in this little circle, so I'll read it for you. It says, don't ever click here. And we said to ourselves, well, what could we do to have a little fun and create a memorable moment with this SEO initiative that is otherwise quite boring? So don't ever click here, gets clicked there, and you click on it. Of course, when you said that, everyone clicks on it, and bam, you would get Rickrolled. And we would literally serve a YouTube pop-up, and Rick Astley's song would start playing, and it was awesome. So a couple things that I generated from this, I have my notes here, is there were 5,000 tweets about this over the course of a month and a half. We turned a mundane initiative, mundane as in lack of customer benefit, into something memorable, into something buzzworthy, into something that's a value add to the customer. Another one that came from SEO, and I'm sorry to pick on SEO, sort of, is this thing that was called our dead product. So we would sell inventory on the site, and then once in a while we would retire a brand or retire a product. But our SEO team said, well, we got to keep that stuff up there so we don't lose the benefit of all the SEO juice we gained from it. And I was like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with that. There's nothing worse than someone saying, hey, you can buy this, and you get to the page and boom, it's missing, it's gone. So what the hell? Have a little fun. And if you put your mouse over this area, this little zombie would pop up. And all of a sudden, we had this, area, this experience on the site that was called our dead products area that also yielded some very similar results to our Rickroll thing, where we would get, this, not quite 5,000 tweets, but several thousand tweets, lots of buzz, written up in magazines over having a little fun with our experience and doing something unexpected with something otherwise less appealing. And I want to kind of just segue quickly into Gemvara, which is what we all want to hear about. And our opportunity really is based around this statement. Close enough doesn't have to be good enough. So let me explain that. Most people, it's in the high 80%, I apologize if I don't have an exact number, who were surveyed, who bought an engagement ring and gave the response, I got almost the piece I wanted, but not exactly. And the company was started based off of that philosophy. How can we make sure everyone gets exactly what they want in an easy way? The industry operates this way. They have inventory, great brands like Tiffany, De Beers, even other ones like Kay and Jared. They have inventory, and they try to send it and push it to the masses, these people here. They don't think about the fact that there's individuals in this crowd with individual interests. Now, these people may have individual interests, and that one person may want a ruby, one person may want an emerald, one person may want something else. Again, I'm not saying these are beautiful designs, so for what it's worth. But the point here is that it's about creating one-to-one products and letting you customize and create anything you want on the site, not pushing inventory on you when you have a salesperson trying to say, buy this and trying to create that need. No, you do want an engagement, but you want it exactly the way you want it, not the way it's sitting in behind the glass. So basically, this is just a quick preview of how our product ultimately works. Essentially, you do pick a design, like a silhouette, for lack of a better way to describe it. And once you choose that, you're then brought into this interface where you're able to customize your stone, customize your metal, and ultimately purchase this exactly the way you want it. And we custom make everything to order, and you will get your product, somewhere between 4 days to 15 days, depending on the complexity of what it is you purchased. Mind you, many jewelry stores, even when you're buying pieces from behind the counter, they need to be resized, take equally as long for you to get that item. But we can do that in a way that gets you exactly what you want as well. The jewelry industry itself hasn't changed really in hundreds of years. The biggest thing that happened in jewelry was it simply being sold online when Blue Nile brought it there. Nothing exciting has really happened since, until us. And really, at the end of the day, it's about finding inspiration in anything. It could be a beautiful scene, if you find this beautiful, at a lake that inspired you to design a piece with those exact colors, or something like that. Or it could be, hopping around in, what are those, marigolds or something like that? What are these? Perfect. Something like that. It could be frolicking in a pool of flowers that inspired you to create a piece that looks like this. Or it could be, I recently went apple picking, so this is one of the ones that came out of it. Going apple picking in that sort of moment, that moment inspired you to create this piece. But of course, there's more emotion to it as well. Really, at the end of the day, it's usually someone else you're buying a piece of jewelry for. So maybe there was a special moment here, a guy is having with his girlfriend, jumping up and down over this red balloon, that inspired him to get this ruby ring. Or it's just, two people goofing off, and that's the inspiration for the creation of their ring. So what you're seeing here are just kind of works in progress as we're working through redefining our brand so we can bring it to market in a more cohesive way. The biggest challenge we're having now is that the jewelry industry has set the standard. People, like to go and do price comparison shopping, and they are used to being sold inventory. We're having a really hard time making sure everyone truly understands that really this is a place where you have to forget everything you've been trained in jewelry stores. This is a place where you can get exactly what you want and create it to your liking. So this is also basically a statement that I preach to my team and try to make sure I carry with me in everything that I do. You got to give your users a reason to remember you, and acknowledge the fact that often the best opportunities to create memorable moments live outside the traditional realm of beautifully designed experiences. much like we did at Zappos with the returns, for example. So I want to quickly, before I depart and move on for the next speaker, also basically say dogs delight. I'm not sure when Jen was here, I wish she would have brought it up, but April Fools this year, they did Warby Parker, which was a total freaking awesome funny joke. If you went to warbyparker.com, it reloaded Warby Parker, and there were a bunch of dogs wearing glasses. I wish I had thought of that, but unfortunately I didn't. All I thought of was a site called dogstiltingtheirheads.com, which is if your dog tilts their head, which many do, upload it there. If you like to dress your dog like a human, go to dog version. In New York City, at least, I'm sure maybe it exists here too. I don't know, like everybody who's walking their dog is wearing the same thing that their dog's wearing. And I saw that and I thought to myself, not literally the same thing, but the same style. And that's when I had a light bulb go off in my mind. And I was like, oh, this would be a cool business idea. So we did it. And then another one called Dogs, which is a dog photo share now. But another thing that always delights people, share. I don't know what it is. I have an unhealthy infatuation for a straight man of share. And I created share.it because I was bored one day. And I will be ending with that and say thank you for allowing me to be here and let's welcome the next person.